7 spine-chilling hotel horror tales. 7 terrifying guests who discovered they were never alone. Sarah had just finished another grueling week as a waitress in suburban Ohio when she knew they needed an escape, a breath of fresh air away from their cramped apartment. On a whim, she packed their old car, squeezing Lily's small backpack in among half-empty bottles of juice and crumpled snacks. She could feel that familiar sense of freedom tingle beneath her skin, but she didn't realize how quickly that feeling would turn to dread. The road stretched out like a thread unraveling into the night, and the trees whispered ominously around them. It wasn't long before their faithful old car sputtered and wheezed, dying before the moonlit woods like a tired old ghost. Panic bubbled over in Sarah's chest. Stranded, alone, darkness closed in, thick and suffocating. As she looked at her sleepy daughter, she fought the urge to scream. Then, through the murk of shadows, she spotted a flickering neon sign in the distance. Evergreen Hotel, it proclaimed, its faded beauty a relic from another time. Relief flooded through her as they lumbered down the cracked road. Surely, inside, she'd find warmth and safety. She'd promised Lily a cozy night's sleep, and this hotel was her chance. The lobby, with its musty carpets and peeling yellow wallpaper, felt strangely inviting, a hug from a faded past. But the warmth dissipated as they climbed the creaking stairs to their room on the second floor. The air thickened, heavy with secrets and unsettling whispers. Shadows seemed to breathe, shifting just beyond her vision. That night, Sarah eavesdropped on a couple lingering in the hallway, their voices hushed with fear. A ghostly child drifting along the halls, she heard them say. Her heart raced. The businessman pacing nearby would glance over, his eyes wide in terror, murmuring about eyes watching him. She felt the hairs on her neck stand at attention. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That night, as she lay still in the darkness, shadows danced wickedly across the walls. Lily's laughter echoed, but it felt hollow. Mommy, my friend wants to play, the innocent voice called from the other side of the room. A chill raced down Sarah's spine. The name Lily spoke was one she knew all too well, one she had buried long ago, entwined in memories of grief and loss. Mind reeling, Sarah brushed it off, an innocent game of make-believe in a strange world. But as the temperature plummeted in the room, the air felt charged with something that seemed to wrap around them like sinister tendrils. She could sense it, lurking and feeding on her fear. Then the scream pierced the silence, a sound so filled with misery that Sarah was frozen. Outside their door stood a shadow, undoubtedly from the whispers of the hotel itself. Eyes glimmered back at her, deep pools of sorrow that seemed to swallow hope. Sarah's heart pounded as she gripped the doorknob. Could they escape before the Evergreen Hotel claimed them too? The walls listened, and the night did not want to let them go. With trembling fingers, Sarah turned the doorknob ever so slowly. She could hear the soft thuds of her heart echoing like a drum. The hallway stretched out before her, dimly lit and cloaked in an unsettling silence. She peered outside, searching for the source of the shadow that had sent chills racing down her spine. All she could see were faint outlines of furniture shoved against the wall, a ghostly, forgotten age. Mommy? Lily's small voice broke the stillness, a haunting whisper that wrapped around Sarah like a noose. She turned back towards the room, wide-eyed, desperate fear on her face. Stay close to me, sweetheart, Sarah replied, forcing her voice to remain steady. Inside, panic clawed at her chest. She couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. Suddenly, a soft giggle floated down the hallway, echoing off the walls like a distant child's laughter. It felt wrong, genuine yet twisted. Sarah's instincts screamed at her to retreat, to lock the door and hide. But that nagging sound, the call of a child to another, compelled her forward. The hallway widened and darkened, each step seeming to stretch into eternity. The air grew thick, filled with the weight of unspoken things, memories of sorrow lingering and simmering just beneath the surface. The floorboards creaked ominously under her feet, as if whispering their own tales of woe. A door stood ajar, swaying slightly as if beckoning her closer. The air around it felt unusually cold, a stark contrast to the warmth flickering from the dim bulb overhead. Sarah glanced at Lily. Her daughter's eyes danced with curiosity, reflecting the dim light. She took a hesitant step towards the door, each breath weighing heavy as she crossed the threshold. Inside, the room was a derelict nursery, wallpaper peeling and faded like the memories it harbored. Broken toys lay scattered across the floor, forgotten relics that shifted uneasily in her mind. She felt that the presence thick in the air, lurking in the corners, waiting for her to acknowledge it. "Mommy, look," Lily squealed, pointing to an old rocking horse that rocked back and forth on its own. The creaking was a dissonant lullaby, sending tendrils of dread coursing through Sarah. The child's laughter grew louder, disarming and taunting all at once. "Lily, we shouldn't be in here." Sarah's voice trembled, grazing the edge of anxiety. She grabbed her daughter's hand, pulling her back toward the door. But before she could exit, the room fell deathly silent. A cold breeze washed over them, and the atmosphere shifted. Sarah froze, a wave of dread crashing over her like a tide. "Get back," she whispered urgently, looking around wildly, feeling unseen eyes pierce through the darkness. Then she saw a figure stood at the edge of the room, dimly lit and almost translucent, flanked by shadows that twisted and contorted. Lily's laughter dimmed into a soft gasp. Sarah's heart plummeted, the air growing dense with a palpable terror. "Mommy, she wants to play forever," Lily whispered, her voice eerily serene, seemingly unafraid. "Lily, no?" In that moment, the figure stepped forward, revealing a visage twisted with sorrow and longing. Sarah's pulse raced as she yanked Lily back, her mind frantic with questions. Who was this specter? What did it want? As the lights flickered ominously, the figure extended a hand, beckoning them closer. Harsh whispers filled the air, chilling Sarah to her core. She felt the darkness claw at her sanity, promising them both entrapment. "Run," she screamed, pulling her daughter away just as the ethereal figure surged forward, feeding on the very fear that trembled within her. They fled down the hallway, the flicker of lights extinguishing behind them, the hotel itself seeming to come alive, urging them back into its dark embrace. But would they make it to safety, or was the Evergreen Hotel already claiming the next victims in its sinister tale? The hallway twisted behind them, shadows warping like strands of darkened tendrils reaching towards Sarah and Lily. Adrenaline surged, overpowering the instinct to look back. Sarah tugged her daughter along, feeling the pull of dread tangling with their footsteps. "Where do we go, Mommy?" Lily's innocence cut through the chaos, igniting Sarah's panic anew. Her eyes darted, searching for an escape, but every door loomed like a warning. "Just keep walking," Sarah asserted, trying to maintain her facade of courage. The air was thick with despair, soaked with whispers that seemed to slither around her, wrapping her in a suffocating embrace. Another giggle echoed. This one sounded closer, rougher like gravel dragged across a concrete floor. Sarah could feel her heart racing faster, pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. They turned a corner, and the hallway opened into a spacious lobby, chandeliers flickering above like dying stars. Dust motes danced in the stale air. There was an ominous emptiness, a sinister calm. "Mommy, I'm scared," Lily whispered, gripping Sarah's hand tightly. Sarah knelt, looking directly into her daughter's wide, anxious eyes. "We'll be okay, honey. Just stick close to me." But inside, her conviction faltered. The sensation of being watched clawed even deeper. A door swung slowly in the distance, revealing another corridor lined with unsettling portraits of guests long since departed. Their painted eyes seemed to follow Sarah, trapping her in their cold stares. She swallowed hard, taking shallow breaths as she stood. "Which way?" Lily asked, her voice a tremor against the silence. "I don't know." Before Sarah could finish her sentence, the shadows from the portraits shifted. One of the figures, the woman in a white dress, tilted her head, and a chilling wind swept through the lobby. "Mommy," Lily gasped, pointing. In that split second, Sarah's instincts kicked in. They needed to move. "This way." She dashed toward the nearest exit, which appeared as a stark contrast against the dimness and illuminated door promising escape. They sprinted forward, but mere steps from the door, the lights flickered a last warning. One moment of hope, then a wash of darkness enveloped them. "Mommy!" Lily screamed, and Sarah felt it a grip around her ankle, cold and constricting. She stumbled, and Lily fell beside her, echoing a tiny cry of terror. The floor groaned in response as Sarah clawed to regain balance. "Get up, honey." But even as she pulled Lily back, another figure emerged from the shadows. This one towering and wretched. Its hands reached towards them, gnarled fingers twitching as if excited, relishing their fear. "Playtime never ends," it rasped, voice slithering like smoke through the air. "Run!" Sarah shouted again, feeling the pressure of the darkness closing in around them. They scrambled toward the door, a wild desperation fueling their flight. Just as they reached the threshold, the light above them flickered violently, sputtering warnings of what lay beyond it. The ambience changed, shifting from a ghostly silence to a sinister orchestra of whispers, laughter intertwined with anguished cries. A terrifying thought gnawed at the edges of Sarah's mind. Would they ever escape? And more horrifying still if they made it out. What pieces of them would remain unshackled from the hotel's grasp? With her heart hammering, she yanked the door open, and a wave of fresh air hit them like a lifeline. But outside was only darkness, an endless void that felt as alive and malevolent as the hotel itself. "Mommy?" Lily's small voice trembled, the light from the entry casting elongated shadows around them. "Just step through, don't look back." But as they took that leap into the unknown, something whispered back from the dark, a promise echoing through the chasm they might now face. "You can't run from your fears," and Sarah wondered, as they crossed the threshold, if this escape would lead them to freedom or deeper into the hotel's sinister embrace. What secret waited on the other side? Would they find salvation or succumb to the nightmare that had followed them all along? The void swallowed them whole, a visceral embrace that chilled Sarah to her core. She blinked, trying to adjust to the thick darkness wrapping around them like a shroud. The fresh air was a mockery of freedom. The stench of earth and rot seeped into her senses, reminding her that escape was far from certain. "Mommy?" Lily's voice quivered, threatening to crack under the weight of fear. Sarah could barely make out her daughter's trembling figure beside her, but the instinct to protect surged stronger. "Right here, sweetheart. Hold my hand tight," she said, clenching Lily's small palm with newfound resolve, fear battling against the pressing dark. "Where are we?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know." The uncertainty hung heavily in the air, amplifying their vulnerability. Each breath felt like a countdown. Something was lurking nearby, observing them, waiting for an opportunity to pounce. As they stumbled forward, the ground beneath them shifted. Sarah struggled to maintain her balance, an unsettling sensation of being on a boat in a storm. There was a nauseating pull drawing them deeper into the abyss. "Mommy, stay close," she barked, panic igniting her every word. The darkness seemed to shift around them, thickening like a living thing. A shiver danced down Sarah's spine. She could barely hear her own thoughts above the echoes of sinister laughter that bounced off the walls, or were they in her mind? Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared ahead. Straining her eyes, Sarah tried to focus through the obscurity. It pulsed rhythmically, casting eerie shadows like grotesque figures flitting across the walls. Lily let us go toward the light. She pulled Lily along, but dread clawed at her throat. What if it was a trap? With each cautious step, the light grew brighter, revealing a cracked mirror on the wall. Sarah's heart sank. Reflections danced within, twisted versions of herself and Lily, but glowing eyes lurked just beyond their edges. "Look away, Lily," she hissed, yanking her daughter's gaze away just in time. But the laughter grew louder, teasing, chiding them for their fear. "Why are we here, Mommy?" Lily whispered, her voice small, only amplified in the gathering horror. I don't know the words tumbled from Sarah's lips, brittle and fragmented. Behind them, shadows morphed and took shape. She turned to look, desperation clawing at her sanity. A silhouette emerged, tall and imperious, just at the edge of the light. It stood still, limbs elongated, and it wore that eternal expression of delight, the kind that froze blood. "Welcome back, playtime begins anew." Its voice echoed like a taunt, sending icy tendrils through Sarah's veins. "Run!" she screamed, propelling them into a blind sprint, pushing off the ground with renewed urgency. But the light wavered, flickering like a faulty bulb. They raced past the mirror, pulling Lily to the nearest exit, a door that appeared as distorted as the reflections had been. The door creaked open, revealing stairs spiraling downward into unknown darkness. Once again, the weight of dread sank into Sarah's chest. "Go, go," she urged, shoving Lily ahead of her as she glanced over her shoulder only to see the towering figure stepping toward them, smiling wider with each passing moment. As they descended into the abyss, echoes of laughter nodded with anguished cries ablaze behind them. Was it her imagination, or were they fueled by the shadow's own glee? "Mommy." Another step down, and the air thickened with despair, wrapping around them like chains. There was no choice but to continue into the darkness below. Every heartbeat felt like a ticking clock, a countdown to whatever fate awaited them at the bottom. But when Sarah reached for the wall to steady herself, her fingers brushed against wetness, a sticky, thick substance that dripped ominously from above, pulsating with an unseen rhythm. Terror ramped up another notch. "Mommy, it smells funny." As they pressed on, the whispers transformed into a chorus of recognizable voices, friends, neighbors, people from their past, all begging, pleading for release. Sarah's heart raced. "Mommy," Lily whimpered as Sarah's grip tightened involuntarily. Then, a thundering crash echoed from above, as if something had broken loose from its confines, and the laughter shifted gears, morphing from playful to sinister. "Are you ready for the real game to begin?" Sarah felt the room spin, and in that moment of dread-filled vertigo, precious seconds slipped away. She turned to Lily, ready to shout a warning, but her words caught in her throat as an even darker shadow loomed above them. Something was waiting, too eager for their arrival. What horrors awaited in the depths below? And had they truly escaped the hotel, or just stepped into its next phase of torment? The descent seemed endless, a spiral into madness as echoes of laughter twisted through the air. Sarah's heart raced, a wild drumbeat of anxiety drowning out her thoughts. Every shadow flickered, every whisper grew louder, merging with the chaotic symphony of despair. The walls, sticky and wet, radiated a cold terror, wrapping around her like a predator eager to feast. "Mommy." Lily's soft, trembling voice pulled her back from the edge of her mind. "I'm right here," Sarah croaked, forcing herself to focus. The darkness clawed at her sanity, but she had to keep the fear at bay. "Just keep going." Lily stumbled, her small frame trembling. "I'm scared, me too, baby. But we can't stop." Each word felt like a heavy stone thrown into the abyss. Sarah backed Lily against the railing as they reached a landing. Something sinister loomed below them, its presence thick and suffocating. A cold draft swept through the space, stirring the stench of rot and despair, as if the darkness itself were breathing, and the walls whispered of secrets no human should ever hear. "Mommy?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. It was as though the walls themselves were waiting for an answer, a promise of eternal torment. "Listen, sweetheart. We can't dwell on anything other than getting out of here," Sarah said, but her own words felt hollow. Even she didn't believe them anymore. With resolve ignited by fear, they moved forward, deeper into the hall without knowing where it led. The laughter had died down, replaced by a dull thumping sound that mimicked a heartbeat, relentless and mocking. It was a rhythm she couldn't shake. The deeper they delved, the more she felt it penetrating her bones. Then suddenly, they were in a large chamber, the walls stretching and bending at unnatural angles, distorting reality itself. Sarah gasped. It was a grotesque parody of a children's playroom, with toys scattered about, some broken, others eerily intact. "Mommy, look." Lily pointed to a battered doll with one missing eye. "It looks sad." "It's just a doll, baby," Sarah replied, her stomach turning at the sight of the once happy face now warped into a grotesque grin. But as they stepped deeper into the room, one phrase echoed through her mind. "It was watching us." Goosebumps erupted along her arms as she sensed they were not alone. There were eyes everywhere. Shadows flitted from corner to corner, darting away as their gaze fell upon them. "Mommy, I'm scared." Lily clutched her arm tightly, turning to hide behind her. "Shoo," Sarah hissed, straining her ears. The whispers had risen again, becoming almost frantic, like frantic fingers twitching at the edge of her sanity. Words floated around them, names, cries, and a sickening sense of familiarity. Friends, family, people she had thought she'd left behind began to drown in the cacophony. Free us! Free us! The voices cried, swirling around her, echoing the hidden pain of the lost. She felt her legs weaken as the need to flee mingled with the pull of something darker, something inexplicably rooted in her own past. The shadows seemed to beckon, tugging on her heartstrings as if they held the secrets of her own regrets. Run! She barked once more, but even as she urged Lily onward, she felt a sense of dread pressing against her. What if this was nowhere at all? What if this was where they were meant to be? They bolted from the playroom, fighting to hold onto precious moments of time. But as they turned to flee, the door slammed shut behind them, sealing their fate in a sickening echo that rippled through the dark. Sarah turned back, heart hammering, as a multitude of figures began to appear, emerging from the darkness, tiny hands reaching, desperate faces twisted in agony. Join us, they chanted, and an icy grip of terror wrapped around her throat. In a final moment of pure dread, Sarah realized the truth. She had not just entered a nightmare. She had unwittingly become a part of it. What would be the price for their escape? And would they be able to pay it before falling completely into the swirling void? The room pulsed with a sinister energy, the shadows closing in like wolves circling their prey. Sarah's grip on Lily tightened, the warmth of her daughter a fragile anchor in the chaos. There was something wrong, something fundamentally twisting in the air that made it hard to breathe. "Mommy, I can't see," Lily whimpered, her small voice wavering against the growing cacophony of whispers. The figures around them moved, their forms indistinct yet alive, bodies that should not be here, mouths that should not be singing the mournful tune of despair. "Stay close," Sarah shouted, though uncertainty lurked like a serpent in her chest. The walls seemed to pulse with life, shifting in and out, as if they too were listening. Dancing shadows elongated and warped, reaching out with grasping fingers, all while the chant deepened into a dissonant symphony that clawed at her consciousness. Join us, what do we do?" Lily cried, eyes wide with terror, reflecting the chaos around them. "We find a way out." Desperation fueled Sarah's urgency. She turned, eyes scanning the room for any possible exit. To the left, she spotted a flicker-dim yellow light cutting through the gloom at the far end of the chamber. "Lily, can you stand?" "I can try," she squeaked, fear bleeding through her voice. Her little legs trembled beneath her as they began to move, each step a battle against the suffocating dread that threatened to pull them down. As they staggered toward the light, the figures shifted closer, their faces twisting in macabre expectation. "Stay with us forever," they lamented, every word a haunting caress. "Not today," Sarah whispered, teeth gritted. She darted forward with renewed fervor, dragging Lily behind her. A sudden crash. A toy train derailed from its spot, tin tracks clattering against the floor like a warning bell. The sound sliced through the air, bringing a momentary lull to the whispering tide. In that silence, a voice softer than a breeze drifted past her ear. "You can't run. It's too late. Don't look back," Sarah urged, feeling the chill of fear wrap around their heels. They were close now, just a few more strides, but the shadows thickened, blocking their path. Sarah's heart raced, desperation fueling her toward the flickering light. Her hand outstretched, ready to embrace whatever semblance of safety awaited. But suddenly, hands erupted from the ground, grasping at her ankles like weeds suffocating a flower. Panic surged through her as she stumbled, trying to shake them off while dragging Lily close. Help us," a chorus of plaintive cries mixed with Lily's terrified whimpers. The shadows swirled around them, coiling tighter as if eager to pull them back into the dark. "Go," Sarah screamed, adrenaline surging through her veins. With one last heave, she peeled away from the icy grip and lunged toward the light. Thud! She barreled through the door, wrenching it open just in time. But as they stumbled into the corridor, her heart sank. The air was still thick with that oppressive energy, the nauseating scent of decay lingering just behind them. No, she gasped, looking back. The door they fought so hard to escape slid shut, sealing the shadows inside. Yet a foreboding chill ran down her spine. All that she had felt, those desperate faces and haunting voices, were still here, lurking, She glanced around the corridor. A line of doors, each one whispering secrets she didn't dare to unlock. "Mommy, where do we go?" Lily's question hung heavy in the air. Terror gripped Sarah's throat. Just ahead, a flickering sign read exit. But the path toward it seemed to bend and twist, as though reality itself conspired against them. "Keep moving," Sarah urged, but doubt clawed at her thoughts. If that was the exit, then why did it feel like the end was merely the beginning? With a low rumble, the walls trembled. Flicking crimson lights submerged the corridor in a hellish glow, washing over them in a wash of despair. "Mommy!" Lily cried, as an eerie silence fell. And then, the laughter returned, soft at first, washing over them like water, but building into a terrible crescendo. They weren't safe yet, not by a long shot. What if the laughter grew too loud to escape? And what if the door behind them wasn't the only one that could slam shut? The corridor twisted like a serpent, shadows undulating against the walls. Every door loomed ahead, each one a potential trap. "It's okay, Mommy, I'm here." Lily's voice was a faint whisper, a small flame of hope against the suffocating darkness. "Just a little further," Sarah replied, but her voice cracked. She could hear it, a low undertone beneath the laughter, a sinister hum that vibrated through the air. It seemed to seep from the very walls, molding the shadows into something more tangible, something hungry. As they rushed toward the flickering exit sign, each shadow felt closer, more defined. Hands reached out from the cracks, clawing at the air as if trying to pull them back. "Stay here, stay forever," that disembodied chorus sang, now more menacing, more insistent. "Mommy!" Lily cried, her small fingers trembling against Sarah's arm. Terror etched lines deeper in the girl's youthful face, making her look much older. "Hold on tight," Sarah said. They picked up speed, but the laughter crescendoed, filling the air with a maddening rhythm. It seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, as though the darkness mocked her every pained breath. "Go away," Sarah shouted, her voice hoarse and desperate. The air thickened as she fought to maintain her composure, but each step felt like running through molasses. Suddenly, a heavy thud echoed behind them, a sound both jarring and transformative. The door they had just burst through crashed to the ground, splintered and warped, as if something large had broken through. From the cracked opening, a hunched figure appeared, dragging itself into the corridor, propelled by an unseen force. Its face was a mask of anguish, a horrific blend of human and something other. Hollow eyes that sucked in light stared straight at Sarah and Lily, and a chill enveloped them, freezing them in place. Join us," it echoed, its voice a grotesque imitation of the whispers that had followed them. The figure extended a skeletal hand, crooked and wanting. The shadows applauded, rushing forward like a wave, pulsing in chaotic harmony. "Run!" Sarah screamed, yanking Lily away from the entrancing figure. They raced down the corridor, the exit sign flickering more violently now, a beacon of false hope in an ocean of despair. Behind them, the laughter and twisted chants grew louder, drowning out everything but their pounding hearts. With each frantic step, Sarah felt the ground beneath them shift, as if the corridor conspired against them, the walls stretching impossibly long, the shadows folding over reality. "The exit, Mommy. We can make it." Lily's voice pierced through the cacophony, a reminder of what was at stake. Then the lights flickered once more, this time plunging them into near-total darkness. The emergency lights screamed red and orange, casting nightmarish shapes that danced and lurched where they shouldn't be. "Don't stop," Sarah urged, fear cracking her voice. She felt the end of the corridor draw near, yet something yanked at her, an undeniable force pulling her backward. She wanted to turn around, to see what was pursuing them, but the instinct to flee pulled her forward like a lifeline. As they reached the exit, Sarah pushed through the door with all her strength, holding Lily close. But as they tumbled into the bright light of the outside world, a sickening realization struck. "You did it," Lily whispered, her relief a mere shadow now. But Sarah's heart hammered even harder as she looked around. They stood in a playground. Children's laughter echoed, all too familiar, yet something was off. The sun seemed to hang too low in the sky, and the playground equipment was rusted, long forgotten. Off to the side, she glimpsed a familiar figure swinging on a rickety swing, eyes hollow, and a grin stretched far too wide. "Mommy!" Lily's voice trembled. "What is happening?" And in that moment of unbridled terror, Sarah understood that maybe, just maybe, they had never truly escaped the confines of the dark. "Get away from there!" Sarah screamed, grabbing Lily's hand tightly. But before they could run, the laughter began anew. A chilling refrain welcoming its next set of guests. What had they unleashed? And who else awaited their arrival? Panic clawed at Sarah's throat, the air thick with dread. Shadows seemed to stretch and thicken, coiling around her like serpents. The playground was an eerie echo of her childhood, twisted in its spectral familiarity. She scanned the area, searching for a path away from that familiar figure, now slightly turning its head toward them, its hollow eyes gleaming with an appetite that felt almost alive. "We need to leave. Now." Sarah tugged at Lily, but the girl's eyes were drawn to the swing, enveloped in the sickly sweet laughter of children that danced on the breeze. It was a sound that felt wrong, a melody twisted to mock their very existence. "Mommy," the kids, Lily said softly, her small body trembling. "They want to play. I don't care what they want." Sarah snapped, gripping Lily's hand tighter. Every instinct in her screamed to flee, yet a malevolent force pulsed through the air, weighing her down. The shadows beckoned. That figure took a step closer, languid and deliberate, and the smile grew unnaturally wide, stretching across a contorted face as if it were familiar with joy, but bereft of it, possessing only its crude imitation. "Come and play," it sang, a voice dripping with honeyed malice. "The more, the merrier. Don't listen to it, Lily," Sarah shouted, her voice cracking. "Stay with me. We're leaving." But the pull of the laughter kept tugging at Lily. Her young face turned upwards, innocent eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and fear. "But they look so happy, Mommy. Just a little, Sarah shouted, the harshness of her voice startling both of them. Lily flinched, but didn't shy away. They were surrounded, the playground landscape taunting them, filled with the agony of past joy now slipping into insanity. As Sarah backed away, the sky darkened abruptly, as if a mighty hand had lowered a veil over heaven. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Suddenly, children's faces began appearing in the gaps between the twisted metal bars of the swing set, pale, ghostly visages trapped in eternal play. They watched with wide eyes, their laughter a sinister symphony. "Mommy, they look lonely," Lily whispered, fear anchoring her feet as clumps of dark energy swirled at their ankles, wrapping around them, weighing them down. "They're not lonely, Lily. They're part of it. We have to go?" Sarah cried, knowing each second mattered, feeling the laughter change, darkening with frustration, transforming into a low growl. With a surge of adrenaline, Sarah pulled on Lily's hand, feeling the weight of countless invisible hands pulling against them, ready to drag them in. But just as she stumbled back, a screech echoed through the air. The figure swung its head back, shrieking laughter rippling through the space like thunder. "Join us forever, you'll play," it lunged. But just then, Sarah noticed something glinting nearby, a glimmer of hope in the dark. A small, metallic object lay buried beneath the swings. "Lily," she yelled, "keep your eyes on me. We're getting out." The glint called to her, and she dashed towards it, the force pulling them back only strengthening, violently, as if the playground itself was defying them. Sarah reached the object, a rusted key, the kind that promised escape but hinted at brutal pasts. Clutching it, she turned back, staring into Lily's frightened eyes. "Stay with me. Whatever happens, we stick together." Behind the laughter, a voice hissed, almost pleading, "You can't leave, you're already here." The ground rumbled, the shadows crackling with energy, swirling with life. "What do we do, Mommy?" Lily's eyes darted around, panic creeping across her small frame. "I don't know," Sarah rasped, heart racing. "But we fight." Just as she prepared to run, the shadows surged forward, and the ghostly children dissolved into mist, revealing their true intent. And all at once, with terrible clarity, Sarah realized they didn't just want them to join in a game. They wanted their souls run. She screamed again, as the darkness crashed forward. But there was something worse waiting in the shadows, something that watched, hungering what would make this night come to a brutal end. Would they escape, or were they already too late? The moment Sarah screamed, the world around them twisted. Gravel crunched beneath her feet as she yanked Lily toward the playground exit. But the ground shook like a living beast beneath her. Shadows swirled in mocking circles, rising like smoke from a dying fire, reaching for them with ghostly fingers. "Mommy, wait!" Lily cried, her small frame yanking to a halt. "I can hear them." The laughter, once a playful tease, morphed into a raucous cacophony, tearing at Sarah's resolve. It came from all directions, haunting and surreal, echoing in a way that made her skin crawl. "No, keep moving," Sarah urged, her voice raw, the urgency clawing at her every word. The key felt impossibly heavy in her pocket, a reminder of whatever hope it could promise or curse. Behind them, the figure stood still, a grotesque marionette of malice. It tilted its head, a hideous grin frozen across its face, eyes glimmering with an allure that gnawed at her core. "Where are you going?" it sang, the voice a blend of childish glee and sinister menace. Each word twisted like vines, tendrils of darkness creeping into her thoughts, enticing her with whispers of freedom from fear. "Stay with us forever now," Sarah shouted, drowning out the voice. She gripped Lily's hand firmly, a lifeline against the seductive beckoning. They hurried toward the fence that bordered the playground, but the shadows thickened as if the night was intent on swallowing them whole. "Mommy, my friends," Lily pointed, her voice terrified, trembling. In the distance, the ghostly silhouettes of children danced, their limbs moving in rhythm with a sadistic joy, laughter ringing like broken bells. "They're not your friends," Sarah gasped, desperately pulling Lily. "They're trapped, just like us." With every stride, shadows grasped at Sarah's ankles, thickening around them as if the very ground refused to let them escape. Panic surged like a tide, threatening to consume her. When the pull of despair began to solidify, they suddenly found themselves at the gate, rusted and old, a stark barrier against the hell behind them. "Open it," Lily urged, but the key felt cold in Sarah's trembling hands. She fumbled, wrestling with the lock, feeling the whispers of the shadows coil tighter. In that moment, it clicked. The lock gave way with a sickening groan, as if it were exhaling after ages of suffocation. Slamming the gate open, Sarah jerked Lily through it. A chill shot through her, an all-consuming darkness flooded in behind them, as if the playground were fighting for its meal. But as they sprinted across the grass, Sarah caught the corner of her eye a flicker of movement. The figure from the swings had broken free from the gloom, slipping out into the light like a serpent uncoiling. "Come back," it howled, the voice now an animalistic growl. "You belong here." Sarah could sense the immense darkness chasing them, feeding off fear and despair. The path ahead twisted in on itself, the air growing heavy with malevolence. She turned back, dread coiling tightly in her chest as she saw the figure melding into the children, their eyes turning blank, hungry. The playground faded behind them, but she felt its claustrophobic grip still in her veins. They were not free. Not yet. "Hold on to me," Sarah shouted as a shadow poured from the woods, and it lunged forward like a bolt of thunder. Right before it could snatch them, Sarah gripped the key once again, clutching it like a talisman. Lily's eyes widened. "Mommy, the key." Before Sarah could fully comprehend, she turned back, her instincts screaming. There at the heart of the playground was a darkness so thick, it swallowed everything. The figure stood once again, laughing, the laughter intertwining with the cries of haunting children. "Leave us, and you'll forget. Join us instead." Just then, a flicker of the key's metal caught the last light of the setting sun. "Lily, we need to go back," Sarah forced out, panic and desperation thick in her voice. But the shadows were closing in, claws grasping, as she felt the weight of eternity bearing down upon her. What was she willing to sacrifice to escape? The line between their world and that playground was thinner than she'd ever imagined. As Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her feet, she knew it was now or never. Would they find a way out, or fall prey to the playground's eternal grip? With a final burst of desperation, Sarah pushed forward, dragging Lily along, battling overbearing shadows that churned like a tempest behind them. They rushed toward the figure and the heart of darkness that beckoned with an illusion of joy. "Trust me," Sarah yelled, clutching the key tightly, the cold metal digging into her palm. Just as the soulless children lunged toward them, she hurled the key into the thickening shadows. The moment it left her hand, a sharp pulse of light erupted, piercing the blackness, a blinding illumination that filled the playground. Time slowed. The air crackled, tingling with energy, the malevolent laughter rising to a fever pitch, merging with desperate cries. "You can't leave. You will be ours." But they had no intention of staying. In that moment of brilliance, Sarah grabbed Lily's hand once more, a lifeline through the chaos. The shadows recoiled from the light, screeching like banshees retreating from the dawn. "Follow me." With renewed courage, they dashed towards the thin beam cutting through the darkness, towards the gate, which now appeared wider and clearer. Freedom felt tantalizingly close. As they neared the exit, the children shrieked, their words twisting into a torrent of pleas. "Stay? Stay forever, it's fun. Join us." The air pulsed with anguish, each word weaving through Sarah's mind like a lembicated fear, a potent cocktail of despair. But they pressed on, the light flaring brighter, each step fending off the icy tendrils reaching for them. Nearly there. Just a few more steps. "Mommy, I'm scared," Lily whimpered, her grip tightening around Sarah's fingers, her wide eyes reflecting raw terror. "Just keep running. Don't look back," Sarah shouted, chest heaving with exertion, her heart pounding wildly. Every instinct screamed at her to escape. Finally, they burst through the other side of the gate. The shadows screeched, slamming against the barrier as if it were a prison. Sarah stumbled into an open field, the evening sky painted with the soft hues of twilight. But then the world shifted. The playground dissolved behind them. The darkness writhed, tangled with swirling whispers. They were free, but at what cost? The remnants of the spirit filled the air, a lingering miasma that threatened to follow. "Mommy?" Lily's voice trembled, filled with confusion. Sarah knelt, pulling her daughter into a fierce embrace. "I'm here, Lily. We made it." Relief washed through her, but the weight of what they had faced pressed down like a stone. "I was scared they would take me. They almost did." Closing her eyes, Sarah felt the tremors of the past, the shadow of the Evergreen Hotel, the echoes of sorrow and unfulfilled promises that painted the edges of their escape. But they had prevailed. Together, as they sat on the grass, a warm breeze swept over them, carrying with it a sense of release, a promise of tomorrow. "From now on," Sarah whispered, "we don't forget we're alive. No more staying where we don't belong." Lily nodded. Clutching a small piece of the swinging surface, they found an emblem of their fight against despair. With a final look back, the remnants of darkness pulled itself together, swirling in one last knot of sorrowing wails before extinguishing under the weight of the uncertain night. They were free. The playground twisted away, returning to the shadows from where it sprang forth. "Ready to go home?" "Yeah," Lily exclaimed, her innocent smile brightening the lingering darkness. Still trembling, but with each step taken away from the abyss, the feeling of hope wrapped around them, laced with the warmth of new beginnings. They walked forward, hand in hand, towards the horizon faded by sunset, eternal reminders of the precious gift of light. They weren't just leaving behind the darkness, they were reclaiming their lives. As they vanished into the twilight, a final whisper echoed through the night. "You can't keep the darkness away forever," but they didn't need to. They had the strength, their bond forged in fire. Every step away served as an affirmation of resilience, a testament to what it meant to fight back against the shadows. This time, they'd be ready. Now it's your turn, dear viewer. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss future exclusive stories. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm, it really helps. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this shocking ending. Your voice matters. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Be part of the community, help us grow, and keep the tales coming.